Justice for who?
Trayvon Marting.
Justice for who?
Trayvon Marting.
Justice for who?
Trayvon Marting.
Justice!
Justice.
Justice!
Justice.
Justice!
Justice.
Justice!
Justice.
Justice!
Justice.
The rally today is a follow-up to the one we had last week. And one of the things we wanted to do, because we've been in touch with people around the country, around the city, people are in motion, marching over the bridges, shutting some things down, tearing some things up. There's motion because people are outraged and they're pissed off. Some people say that they, in fact, knew this was going to be the verdict. How many people here knew that that was going to be the verdict? They believed that Zimmerman was going to be found innocent. How many people felt that way? Those of you who believed he was going to be found innocent should have never got out of the streets in the first place. Because one of the things we've learned in our history here, and that's why we want to talk to you about it, we want to talk to you about what the fences are about, what the police are about now, what the marches are about, because it's very important, if we're going to get justice, that we don't make the same errors we have made before. And one of those errors is us leaving the streets. They didn't want to prosecute Zimmerman in the beginning. So we went to the streets to even have him charged. And then, when the trial started, we went out of the streets. The same folks who knew that they were not going to prosecute him made him get prosecuted and then went out of the streets as if something fundamentally different was going to happen inside the court. Right. There was nothing fundamentally put upon Florida and this government to make the decision different in that courthouse. And we all have to say that to ourselves. If we never believed he was going to be found guilty, then what should our activities have been all along? And it didn't necessarily mean one thing, it could have been meant, but what should our activities been all along? And the real issue that comes up, what was our conversations? OJ trial got everybody watching justice on television. Now we're all watching the Trayvon case on television. But the Trayvon case wasn't on television. The Trayvon case was in a locked, gated community with a young man coming from the store and a, quote, watch person who had been told by the police to stay in his car, pulling out his gun and going towards Trayvon. The aggression started first in his mind and then he carried it out. We are led to believe the aggression didn't start till some kind of fight started and Trayvon got killed. The aggression was when they told him don't do it and he did it anyway. So for us, the issue wasn't a trial. The issue was Trayvon was dead. And so many things have been happening around the country, and one of the things we wanted to do, we wanted to hear from people here. What do they think? We have some views about what we think, but we also want to hear what do y'all think. And so we're going to open the mic up for folks to say what they thought, say what they're thinking. And then we're going to give you our view of some things we've been thinking about that can only happen if they happen because you agree with them in terms of that. So we're going to open the mic up. We don't want it to be no speeches, but we did want to hear people's thoughts to this point in time. Because there's motion going on across the country. Many people are saying many different things. There are calls for many things, but in everybody's mind has got to be, what do you think will be effective in terms of that? So, in that regard, I'm going to open the mic up.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone who's out here. I would like to say that it's been a constant attack upon African Americans and their constitutional rights, their human rights, and any other rights. And it's the same exact thing that's been happening. If you watch history, it has them systematically It's like a disease. We got to stop playing and get to the federal court, to the federal level. Why is our human rights and our constitutional rights and civil rights being violated by everybody that get off a boat, that came after us? That's my question. Why are we not running down on the federal government so our constitution, our human, and our civil rights can be protected like all other citizens of this nation who come behind us? My personal view is give incentives to our young people so they can come out, because they're not going to come out with just a lot of lip service. They got to see some tangible, concrete evidence. It could be anything. It could be Jay-Z. It can be 50 Cent. It could be anybody can show them some tangible rewards. You see the young people, but the older people, we get our rewards from a higher place. See, young people, they don't understand that, but older people do.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
How y'all doing? My thoughts, rather my solution to it is targeting the economics. I'm a father of 4. What I believe is this, though. We got to support ourselves and continue to show and prove that this is ourselves. What we do is, as elders, I'm 31 years old, a married father of 3. If we target the economics, this is when people will listen. A lot of times we sell ourselves short, sell ourselves out. Even these businesses over here, I used to support a business where they put a black front in front of the business and the Koreans was behind them that's owning it. No disrespect to them. So we believe in and we supporting that, but we're not really investing in our people. As far as the youth, I believe that you get these sneaker stores, these people come from over there, they selling $400 pairs of sneakers to these kids, allowing these kids to do whatever they do. Parents is breaking their back. I think we got to go back to the essence that what woke us up and keep us in tune to what we need to do. And I watched the whole trial. You know, I personally believe that the case was botched from the prosecutor, and it was just to hush us up. But we can't just stop. The way of the world, if you want people to listen, is you target their economics and you target their pockets. So if people don't want to support us, we don't need to support them, because we're the biggest consumers and everything around here. So one way people would listen now, we have money, we have wealth, target the economics. That's it. Stop supporting these people.
Grace and peace to everyone here. Grace and peace. I want to concur with the gentleman that came before me. I don't know if everybody realized that we spent $1 trillion in 2012. $1 trillion that came out of our community. We have to be more disciplined in where we spend our money. If you want to talk about Trayvon and the trial and what Florida did, you got to be disciplined in terms of where you spend your money and how you spend it. Again, we spent $1 trillion, and that money did not return back to this community. Our kids are not getting a good education. They reach the 12th grade. They can't get a job because of the education that they received. If they don't have a job, they cannot stay in the city.
Let's stay on Trayvon.
What I'm trying to say to you, this whole discipline about what happened to us a week ago, we have to be committed to Trayvon Martin's family and to this issue. Please be disciplined in what you do and what you spend. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My concern about this whole thing with Trayvon Martin, when this thing happened, it had took me back to when I was a child. My parents, they dealt with being slaves and wasn't able to get in the restaurants, and I have never experienced that. But then when they did what they did to Trayvon Martin, and I look at my little kid, I'm like, I gotta walk him to school every day from these people because he black, he can't walk the streets. Hell no. You understand? So something got to be done. And I think we need to pull together, teach our kids, and protect them. Because if you don't protect them, there's no future. Not for us. What we should do about it? Educate our kids more. Tell them to pull up the pants. Our sisters, dress decent. And respect and love your elders. It's all about love. Love one another. Caring. Trayvon Martin, justice. No peace. Because it wasn't right. He's just a little boy walking with Skittles. And my son walked, he skateboard every day to school. It's because he's black and I don't like I could shoot you in no time. It ain't happening.
When Anderson Cooper spoke with Juror B37, she used words like color boy and they. So already when she went in, it was them against us. And that jury sent a message that you can't come in our community. And if you do, this is what's going to happen to you every time. My thoughts is like, what we're dealing with is racism. And our fight will and always be against white supremacy. Now, if you believe that white people can be racist, raise your hand.
That's not the question.
Well, if you believe that black people can be racist, raise your hand. Now, how does racism, right, affect and adversely impact the lives of black people? You got schooling, you got housing, you got like jobs where hierarchy, managerial positions and directorial positions.
What should we do?
Right? What should we do?
What should we do?
What should we do? This is what we should do. We should come together. You know, we should come together. You know? And we should like stop taking on this capitalism culture. That's not our culture as Africans. Our culture is spirituality, astrology, and family values. You ever see a black person walk up to each other, see how they greet each other? Slapping fives. That greeting is ceremonial. It's ceremonial. So when we take on a capitalism, a culture that's not ours, it invariably turns on us and we self-destruct. We worship with a high propensity. That's where gospel music come from.
We do not have to reinvent the wheel. We are standing here in front of the Adam Clayton Powell State Office building. There are enough people here who remember what Adam Clayton Powell did and how he boycotted and picketed for jobs on 125th Street when black people could not work in the stores. So what we're talking about, economics, boycott is a very effective means. It has proven, it worked in Montgomery. Right? Now what happened in the aftermath is another thing, but it worked. We were able to mobilize for that period of time for well over a year and find alternate means of getting where we needed to go, and it worked. When Adam Clayton Powell boycotted, it worked because then jobs opened up. So we can talk about a lot of other things in terms of taking responsibility for ourselves, but for an immediate response, I think boycott is the way to go.
I would like to say that I do believe in boycotting, but I think that the same way all the gays went down in Washington, D.C. and camped out on the lawn, that might be something we need to do. And the first thing we need to demand in our community is to take all white police officers out of our community, because we already see what they do to us and our families. And the second thing is that Detroit declared bankruptcy. If we have enough black builders, we have enough black owners, doctors, lawyers, you name it, they ain't got nothing we don't have. I would say call out for all black people to go move to Detroit, build it back up, and make that our first state and city that we can take over, since they don't want it because it's all black. I'm just saying that one thing we have to keep in mind, elders, is that our youth are watching us. We sit by and watch, we drive by, walk down the street, and see the police have two young black boys hemmed up, and we don't say nothing. Now I understand we're shook because we know we're going to get tased, beat up, slapped, or locked up on trumped up charges. But those days of fear need to be over. Yeah. Because if our youth don't see us stand up for them, we want to sit here and wonder why they sitting here running the games, because at least they ride or die for them. So we need to let them see us ride and die with them too. And then maybe we'll see a difference, because they are the ones that are going to spark the flame. And we're under our guidance. So my whole point is, when we make our demands, the first thing is to get white cops out of our neighborhood.
That's right.
That's the number one. Because we can't trust you. It's enough in black and white to go to any president or anybody else and show what you have done. So my whole point is that if they don't want Detroit, let's take it.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Okay.
My name is Ebony Ray. I'm from the Bronx, but I lived in Harlem when I was younger. I am the youth, kind of, sort of. I am 23, and what we need to do is, as youth, we need to go out into the community. One thing is get involved with your community. I do a lot. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Co-op City, but I do a lot for Co-op City as far as the youth and just getting the youth together and rounding them up. As you can see, if it wasn't for the youth and social media, this Trayvon Martin, a lot of people wouldn't have known about it. Like other cases that we still don't know about that has been going on. So my advice is, for one, myself, I am developing my own nonprofit organization for youth and young adults for this particular reason right here. So what we need to do, get involved with the community. If you want to boycott, boycott, but you also need to educate yourself, and that's through being involved with your community, because we're a family. If you can't just do it all by yourself. You need a community of people. So I recommend that you guys get involved with your community and support nonprofit organizations. I'm actually in the process now of becoming 501c3. It's a lot of paperwork, but I'm going to do it because I believe in us and I believe in our community. So just keep on going, and the fight is not over.
Not over.
What I think and what the action that I think needs to take place now is the black man going to have to step up. Stop playing.
That's right.
Exactly. Okay?
That's
Stop
right.
playing. Put these young folks under your wing. Okay, never mind, oh, that ain't my child sitting up on the Jerry Springer show talking about who kid it is and all of that nonsense. Listen, every young black man in this community is your kid.
That's right.
Step to the plate.
I just got through doing 25 years. And I was in prison with a lot of political prisoners. And one thing I saw and learned is that we don't support our political prisoners. And if we go out and do what we want to do, we're going to be in jail just like them. And our youth is not going to do what they did because they see we don't support our political prisoners. But one of our elders just told us, we're here brainstorming because we want a solution. Our elders and our leaders already gave us the answer. Adam Clayton Powell was the king of boycotting. Before Martin Luther King boycotted, Adam showed us how to shut down a store. When America got a problem, they boycott Cuba. When America got a problem, they boycott Iran. Why? Because in warfare, that's a great tactic. It worked. Martin Luther King proved in Montgomery that if we boycott the bus, if we shut them down, we'll get what we want. As the sister said, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Make a date, make a plan, make it easy where we can get together and say, what day are we going to shut this mother down? We don't want you to go kill nobody. All we want you to do, remember Malcolm said, there's two ways to fight the enemy. Either you hit him over the head or you hit him in the pocket. We're going to hit these bastards in the pocket. Let's make a date.
Justice for who? And the Central Park Five.
The only thing that I can think of in the face of injustice is to stand to be counted. And we have to continue to stand to be counted. My mother was just here a second ago, but as y'all know, she's been fighting stage 4 cancer. And
Did he say his name?
that woman is my hero.
Say your name, Yusuf.
You know?
Your name.
Yes, indeed. Stress does something. It definitely does something to you. You know, she's in a bit of remission. But when I tell you that when it was time to stand and when it was time to be counted, she was there all the time. My mother, Sharon Salam, was there all the time. This Tuesday coming at 10 a.m., she's going to be there again because we have a status hearing at the courthouse, 500 Pearl Street.
500 Pearl Street.
We've been having these status hearings for a little while now. We was found innocent 10 years ago. So you could buy your way to make the thing turn out to be not guilty. But to be not innocent, but to be innocent is completely different than being not guilty. We got to stand to be counted. And I always leave the crowd with a piece of my poetry. And I feel like I just want to take a moment just to say something with regards to that. This piece was written in 1989. This is one of the great lawyers, one of our great lawyers right here. You know. But this one is called 1989, the turning point. Saying down with the blacks, but uplift the white race. Scottsboro, scapegoats, 6 more kismet. Justice, unjust, black robes and pale face. Raising the banner to the sun in haste. Mob deep, hoods and capes. Staying after being wet. Saying down with the blacks, but uplift the white race. Unjustly tried, an indelible conviction of rape. The usual result of what 6 shades of darker skin get. Justice, unjust, black robes and pale face. Didn't have a chance. 6 youth among apes. I wish I would have known the false smile. Understood the subtle sweat. Saying down with the blacks, but uplift the white race. Evil intentions, they still fulfilling their tastes. Why me? Us. Losers in this camouflage gauntlet. Justice, unjust, black robes and pale face. Black or shades of brown. We must keep the pace. Under burdens, with pain on our back. And erase the mindset of saying down with the blacks, but uplift the white race. Justice, unjust, black robes and pale face. Peace, family.
And we are not this angry because of one verdict. If you put what happened in this trial in a historical context, as we begin to talk about this travesty, and as we sat around and we talked about it and we started remembering the cases before this, the conversation went all the way back to 1955 in Emmett Till.
Yeah, that's right.
And everybody from Emmett Till to Trayvon Martin, every white law enforcement, sheriff, bully, thug, everyone was acquitted, no matter how heinous the crime. When Randy Evans was sitting on the front porch, the white cop who murdered Randy Evans said that he suffered from a rare form of epileptic motor seizure and temporary insanity, and the judge acquitted him. Those policemen who killed Eleanor Bumpers, you remember Eleanor Bumpers? The elderly woman who was terrified when she saw and heard somebody smashing her door down. She ran into her kitchen and picked up a kitchen knife, had no idea who was coming through her door. When the group of policemen who were at the wrong apartment knocked the door down, they immediately shot her to death, and they were acquitted. See, our experience is that no matter how heinous the crime, if the victim is black and the killer is white, they will be acquitted. We're not angry because of this one verdict. You all understand that? In a historical context, we are looking at a pattern of behavior that makes it clear to us that we are not struggling against stand your ground. Because Randy Evans was killed, Amadou was killed, all of those people were acquitted before stand your ground. Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin because Zimmerman was assured that he could get away with it. His attorneys put up that flimsy defense because they understood it didn't make any difference what they said. that they were waiting for and counting on white privilege to be on their side. I'm saying to you that we are struggling against the institution of racism.
That's right.
There's the stand your ground law exists in over 30 states. But y'all understand it doesn't make any difference. They kill us and are acquitted whether they stand your ground or not. Nobody takes us seriously. We've not demonstrated any clout. We've not shown them any of our political or economic leverage. And so I know if my goddaughter sent me a text message this morning, but she said, let's boycott America.
That's right.
Say it goes beyond Florida. She said, let's pick one day where we don't spend any money anywhere. Let's boycott America. There are some other industries that need your money. There are industries that cannot exist without your money. Is Yusuf's mother still there? We mentioned Yusuf earlier. Wave your hands. All right. When we talk about the Central Park 5. There are some industries that cannot exist without your money. So very soon I'm working with some folk trying to find the industry. I know I want it to be the fast food industry. They can't survive without your money.
That's right.
I've already seen the most recent research. Most of the fast food restaurants in the country are in black communities. And the research says it's not based on income, it's based on race. Fast food restaurant density is determined by race. I knew that we spend a lot of money on fast food, but I didn't know that most of the fast food money in this country came from us. They can't afford for us to flex our muscle. We'll see. But the point is, just be clear, what we are struggling against is the institution of racism. It is justice for everybody. And institutionalized racism is the enemy. And so we've got to begin to look at how we're going to respond within that context. And when you think about Trayvon Martin, just keep it in a historical context. Y'all with that? Thank you very much.
Justice for who? You know, his brother Bob said, and brother Malcolm instructed us, when you speak a language and people don't understand you, it's because you're not speaking the right language. You're not speaking the right language. So you can be in their face, almost spitting in their face, and they don't hear you at all. But once you speak the language that they understand, you can be 5 blocks away and whisper, and they hear you.
That's right.
Because you finally communicated with them what you want to say. America spins on 2 different axes: violence and money. The main thing they export around the world is your exploited labor, which is their money. It ain't their money, it's your money. Rich people don't make no money. You make money for them. So they export your stolen labor around the world, and when that don't do it, they export their guns. That's what their contribution is going out, and that's what determines the relationships that they have to protect themselves in here. Violence and money. And so, if we listen to what Bob said, what many of you said, and what people are saying around the country, is there must be some impact that we have that everyone can participate in. So that impact, it was agreed, would start with a boycott of Florida. A boycott of Florida and everything that has to do with Florida. Now some people might say, well, what do you mean? No. You know what's Florida. You know whether you're getting ready to go there. You know you're getting ready to buy something. You know what it is. It ain't like a shopping list. It's to know. Brother Stevie Wonder Brother Stevie Wonder, who got more politics with his fame than some people with fame and ain't got none, said he's not going to Florida no more. Just like Ray said he wasn't going to Georgia no more. That's the leadership in terms of what they all should not do. They asked a famous couple that on the bridge yesterday. There was no response. But there can be a response from us. That Stevie has laid out the line for entertainers. Boycott Florida. And you know, our enemies look at it and say, oh, that don't mean nothing. It means everything to them. That's why they don't want to discuss it. And that's why the brother said, oh, they shut down the whole country. Y'all remember when that woman disappeared in Aruba?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
One woman vanished in Aruba. They shut down the whole island. The whole country they shut down because one woman lost her life. And we don't know what she was, except she was white. But they shut down Aruba because of that. We have a power, as Adam said, use what's in your hands. We have a power. If we use it together, and we take some time from the things we do so often, that is a waste of time, and turn it into some productive time. Because none of this will work if we do not change the conversation between us. We can't afford to watch the main popular TV program.
That's right. That's right.
That ain't about us, it ain't for us, and most of it's about the police.
Thank you.
That's what it's all about.
Some things oppressed people cannot afford to do because it is a waste of your precious time for liberation. So we've got to change the conversation. As Bob says, people are looking at even sharper means to deal with, but the starting point is we're going to boycott where? Florida. Boycott where? Florida. Boycott where? Florida. We're going to shut them down.
Shut them down.
All them racists down there
Shut it down.
who wanted to give him back his gun before he even had left his hand. They insisted he take it back. We're going to boycott where? Florida. We're going to boycott where? Florida. Do y'all hear that? Do y'all agree with that? Yes. And let me tell you something. You know how it is in terms of African call and response. Sometimes it's cultural entertainment, right, Craig? It's like you say something, people give it back to you. I don't want to give, as Malcolm said, I don't want to give you nothing you weren't going to do anyway. I don't want to make something up for you that you're just going to say, yeah, and then you go home and go right back to turn on the TV and watch some racist program that got you there as an idiot or in jail. Do y'all agree? Is that sensible? Is it doable?
Can we have a list of some of the corporations?
Well, that's going to come. See, that's going to come. And you know where it's going to come from? It's not going to come just from Bob Law. It's not going to come from Omar Wally Clay. It's going to come from this sister. It's going to come from this brother. It's going to come because we have to be our own liberators. As Bob said, it didn't start with Trayvon. And I'm not into saying we're never going to have this ever happen again because we haven't put in place what's necessary for it not to happen again. We ain't going to be no metaphysicians. We, as a people, and our allies, have not put in place the conditions for it not to happen again. There's a Trayvon tomorrow or next week because we have not taught them a lesson. We have not taught them a lesson. And that's what we must do. And we must all march in single file. It don't require all of us, but it requires the unity of most of us. So we say boycott Florida. You know what that means? That means you get on the phone and you say what's going on. You tell a person who lives next door to you. You tell your whole family. Everybody getting ready to travel, let them know what's happening. Let them know what's happening. Because we, and I want y'all to hear this, we are our own liberators. Ain't nobody riding up on no white horse to save us. That's over. And unfortunately, the only one who would have been Harriet, but she ain't with us no more. So there's some new Harriets out there to help us liberate ourselves. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. Black power. And so justice for who? And we want people to know we need allies. It's nothing wrong with having allies. Sometimes people used to say, oh, if there's a white person in the crowd, that's the enemy. The enemy is going to be black. The police ain't sending somebody in white. But on a strategic level, we need our allies. Everybody who can unite with boycotting Florida, get them down with it. So many people around the world know what happened to Trayvon was wrong. Get them down with it. They can be our allies. They cannot be in charge.